Hello, today I would like to discuss about what is big data. As we all know, big data become a huge phenomenon today. Everyone keep talking about it, but what is big data? What is the impact of big data? The world is changing with all the technology we have today, with all the connected devices we have today. It's changed the way we live today. With the smartphone, the internet, the GPS, the smart car, smartphone, and everything. And this is something very new, because with all these things, it's great data every day. Smartphone is great data. Our GPS great data. So this is something that we can say the development, the beginning of the big data. But what is a big deal about big data? Everyone keep talking about it. And what does big data really mean? And what does it impact? What is the impact of big data to the organization? And of course to ourselves. Every day, organization create new data, whether it's a structured or unstructured data. But these data are created in many forms. For example, in printed document, in PDF, in social media, mobile data, and this is data. Not just the organization ourselves create data all the time. We upload picture to the Instagram. We updated our Facebook status. That's again what we call data. So mostly these data are created in the way of unstructured data. And not so many data can be evaluated. And how can we evaluate this data? Because of course organization depend on this data. So it's very difficult to identify how organization ourselves can manage the development of this big data. So how can we define big data? Basically, it can be defined in two ways, broad sense and of course the strict sense. Big data can be defined as all the possible available data on earth, social media, document in Word, in PDF, image, video, weblog, everything, sensor data. This is big data, all the possible amount of data in the world. That is big data. So in the market growth. For the revenue in 2011, the revenue cost about 5.1 billion, and we can see that IBM lead at the highest revenue over 100 million a year. This is something that we can say how the big data, how IBM focus on big data in order to manage the development, the creation of the data. And you can see that the big data pure play vendor revenue almost 468 million in 2011, and this is based on the Wikibon. As we can see, the vertical, they have the highest revenue with 84 million in 2011. And of course, data growth. For example, the worldwide data growth at 7.9 exabyte a year in 2015, and that's a lot number of data. As you can see, since 2005, the number is very small, compared to 2015, where the number almost reached 8,000 exabyte of data, and this is something very critical. How organization can manage, how organization can deal with this data is very, very difficult. So according to IBM report, 2.5 quintillion bytes of data created each day. This is based on IBM, and nearly 90% of the data in the world is created in the last 2 years. And of course, the recent survey by the independent Oracle user group, 48% of enterprise expect to moderate increase in unstructured data analysis in every 5 years. That's the problem, the unstructured data, because the amount of unstructured data is very high compared to the structured data. What does structured data mean? What does the information mean? It's something that we can say the organized information. Organized information can fulfill the usefulness information and how organization can use this information to support their decision making. And then data is growing at a 40% compound annual rate, expecting to reach nearly 45 zerobyte by 2020. And that amount of data is very, very big, So the organization ourselves need to prepare how to deal with this data. Because everyday organization keep creating new data. They need this data to support their decision making process. But how they want to identify the relevant data and how they want to analyze this data to the how they can analyze this data to make sure they get a very useful information. And then let's look at the strict sense of definition. And we can say that big data is a term for large data set that traditional data processing application cannot handle. Why? Because it's too big to fit into a single server, too unstructured to fit into row and column database such as Microsoft Excel, and then too continuously flowing to fit into a statistic data warehouse. This is something that we can see is very specific definition of the big data. So how can we define big data? Usually we use 4V. The first one is volume, variety, veracity, and veracity. So what does volume mean? As I mentioned earlier, organization create so many data. So this amount of data is called volume. The amount keep increasing, keep growing every single minute. And then of course the variety of data, because this data are created in many forms. Sensor data, mobile data, social media, printed traditional data, and of course the veracity, the uncertainty of the data. We don't know what to do with data, whether this data is relevant, whether this data is important, why organization create this data, whether we have to keep this data or not, whether we have to analyze this data, how we can analyze this data, and then the veracity of the data, because we need to analyze the data to make sure to show the flow of the data so that we can get very useful information. This is part of definition of big data. How can we define big data? How can we identify big data? And then this is one of the example. We can say that big data is not new, but the tool are. Because for me, data already created not just for the last 5 years, but for the last decade. Since the beginning of the internet, of things, such as the first ATM machine in 1962, if I'm not mistaken. That's we create data. Since the beginning of the internet, that's when the data were created. But they are there. The data are there, but the tool to manage this data are new. For example, the vertical application, app and media app, log data, Hadoop, MapReduce, business intelligence, analytic and visualization. This is all the tools have been created in order to manage the amount of data, the complexity of the data, the unstructured data. So how about the evolution of big data? Because big data come from many sources, for example, enterprise data, transactional data, social media, because every day we create data using our social media. Teenagers, senior citizens, teachers, students, they have their own social media. Even organizations have their own social media page, such as Facebook. Why they have this? It's easy for them to communicate with the customer, easy for them to communicate with the user. Okay, and then what is activity generated? A public data, archive data. This is some of the example of the big data sources. And then, of course, it's crucial for organization to understand the implementation of big data in order for them to improve the value extraction in the organization. Because in organization they have the data acquisition, data marshalling, data governance, data dissemination, data visualization, data analytics. But how they can implement this tool in order to manage their data, especially the unstructured data, because unstructured data is very difficult to evaluate. It's very difficult to identify useful data, the importance of data. How we can organize this unstructured data so that it can become the structured data. Structured data is very important for the organization to use as the useful information to support their decision making. And what there is no doubt that the big data revolution has created substantially benefit to the businesses and customers alike. They are the commercial risk that go along with using big data. And of course, there's some benefit and there's some risk when organizations try to implement the big data. For example, when organizations try to manage their big data, implement big data, they can improve their ability to compute, to analyze, and of course to improve the availability of the data in their organization. Because nowadays, organization doesn't need one form of data only. They need so many data, from the not just from the internal data sources, but they need information data from their external data sources, such as social media, such as mobile data, such as sensor data. And how this data from, for example, data from social media can support their decision making. That's something that organization need to look at in order to make sure their big data implementation can be success. There's some risks that the organization need to consider. Governance, management, architecture, usage, quality, security, and privacy. Especially the security. How they can use this data, how they can manage the data, how they can store this data, because some of the data is very private. It's a critical data, something that cannot be shared to the public. But how can organization manage the data in order to support their decision making process? And one way to define the big data, just let's look at ourselves. We have our own device we use at home, and then we have our device that we use at work too. And then of course, devices we use at home is all the information about us, and then we keep our information such as the photo, the message, the contact, the event, the place. We store all this information data in our devices, whether in our tablet, in our smartphone, in our personal computer. And then of course, at work, we store our information, the data in our workplace, such as our meeting, the information of the presentation, the information of our customer, the financial plan, the meeting, all these things we create in our office. We don't mix it up with our personal and work information. Therefore, every day, technically, we create two types of data, our personal data and our work data. And then this activity, our daily activity, create huge amount of data. And then this is another definition of big data. It's not just come from the organization, but also it can come from ourselves. We create data every day. We take a picture, we upload it in our Instagram, in our Facebook, all the social media. That's we create data. So I hope you get some basic idea of what is big data. But it's not just about the amount of big data. So what should we do next? What the organization should do next? What us ourselves should do next? As I mentioned earlier, big data can be defined as a huge volume number of data. It includes traditional, new, unstructured data that we and also organization create every day. Therefore, the most important thing is not about the volume of the data, but what we do with it, to turn this data into insight. So what is the big deal about big data? If you ask me personally, I don't really like the term of big data because for me it's too commercial. Because as I mentioned earlier, data already created long time ago. But how can we turn this data into insight that can help us to improve our community, the sustainability of the society, and how we can use this data in order to support the decision making for us, ourselves, and of course for the organization.